Hey guys, welcome out to episode 49 of the Pod of War Gamescast. I'm your host, EOF Gizmo, this week, joined by CW Lanky.
Hello.
And the man, the myth, the legend, Massive Das, Chris Pengilly.
Hello everyone.
So boys, another week. We're one episode away from episode 50, the big Pengul's face reveal episode, where we reveal what Pengul's actually looks like.
What if he just rips his skin off?
And secretly it's a young, hot woman underneath. It's all been a lie.
Cool, that might get us some viewers, that'd be good.
It would probably increase the views, Craig, you're right. But, boys, another week's gone. Lots have happened since the last episode. So we're going to start off with our usual rigmarole, which, of course, is going to be what we've bought, what we've played. So let's start with the Lankster. Lankster, what have you bought? What have you played? What's been going on?
You see, what I meant to do was go back and... Because we haven't done a podcast for a couple of weeks, have we?
It's been about 10 days.
Yeah. So go back and remember where I was. So I think from last time, I'm going to make up on the spot. I think I finished off a few games, basically. I think I finished off the Hot Wheels DLC. Cause I don't think I'd quite done that last time.
No, I think you still had the Goliath to do.
That's it. So I did the Goliath. I did what we call the Dave Bellringer tactic and got like the fastest car I could get with the fastest top speed tune and just held down that right trigger and just went very fast.
You're damn right.
I had my Hennessy Venom.
Oh, lovely choice.
Absolutely flying. No one could catch me. Just a beast. I won that. And I mopped up a few more of the achievements. I got the roads, got all the not the billboards, the extra boards, fast travel boards or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I mean billboards is pretty much it, right?
Yeah. And I got the tanks that you can smash as well. Got those achievements. So I ended up finishing up with a fair few of the achievements, I think, from that DLC. I also finished off Chorus as well, which I don't think I'd finished last week. Wasn't very far from the end. Did have some shenanigans with achievements. Weirdly, I thought I'd missed 2 achievements. I got to the point of no return. Did the point of no return. Played the day, won the game. Absolute hero. No achievements popped. And I was like, well, I'm sure I should have had at least 2. So luckily, obviously, I had a save at the point of no return. I was like, I'll see if I can kind of go back and shenanigan this and get them to pop. And what I ended up having to do is basically get to the point where I thought an achievement should pop, and then exit out of the game to the menu, and then exit out of the game to the main Xbox menu, quit the game completely, reload the game, load back to where I was, and then the achievement would pop afterwards, which is very strange. It somehow worked. I ended up getting 4 achievements out of 2 as well. So
hell yeah!
Somehow I ended up better than I thought it was going to be. It's a bit of a pain in the ass having to do it that way. Because I think it took like an hour and a half. Quite a lot, I think. So I did pretty much every side quest I think I could have done. I'm stalling as I look now. 870, Chris, I ended up with.
Nice.
Yeah, so quite a lot.
An 87% completion, some might say.
Yeah, I think I missed 2 free trophies, so I can also still have a look for that if you wish.
Once you stall are, so I did get one of them where you've got I don't know if you unlock it or if you start with it, but there's one where it's like a permadeath mode. So after I finished, I obviously reloaded that, found the first enemy, which I think was just some turrets, and just sat in front of them and let them kill me. Got that cheese achievement. If you're missing that one, Chris, it's an easy one to get.
Nice. Well, I don't know if it's going to tell me. I'm on the PlayStation app. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it's broken. PlayStation, too slow.
Should have gone for true trophies. That would have been the correct way to do it.
Yeah. Or just played the game on Xbox. Would have been even more correct way.
I've got 82%. So I don't know how many I'm actually missing. I've got 34 of 43. So obviously one of them is the platinum. So.
Wait, what? The platinum?
Platinum is one of the trophies.
Platinum, obviously, forgetting.
I see. I forget how this works. Yeah. So I finished off those 2. I then started and finished As Dusk Falls, which is a game that's name I always I always want to say Until Dawn for some reason. I don't know why. But they're not even the same, are they?
Nah.
I always want to say it. I liked it a lot more than Chris did last week. I played through the whole thing in like probably about a week or so. I thought the story was like ridiculously good. Um, I think I heard on the Xcast they were comparing it to like Fargo and films like that. It does have that feeling to it. Kind of you start off and you kind of focus on one character, then it kind of branches out, and you leave that character and go with other ones. And yeah, the story's like phenomenally good. The cast of characters, I think, is like the main like reason this game kind of shines for me. They're all very kind of well rounded. They're all kind of like flawed in their own way. They all kind of grow and change as the game goes on, as different stuff happens. Yeah, I thought the characters were just phenomenal. The voice acting was great. I didn't have the issue that Chris had with the art style. I can see how you might have an issue with it. I found for like the first 5-10 minutes, I thought it was really weird, like playing it and how you could see the characters on the screen and their lips didn't move, but obviously they're talking. You can hear them talk, and I found that really off-putting for a little while. But I got used to that fairly quickly, I'd say. I thought it was quite cool how it's got this like very slow stop motion, like comic book style, where kind of like different frames kind of come and go. But as like the actual main characters would be like stop motion and they won't move, like the stuff in the background will move. So if they're like stood by a road, for example, there'd be cars driving along it normally, or if they're stood outside and it's windy, let's say their hair would be moving, but there'd be stop motion. So I thought that was quite cool and looked pretty good all the way throughout. So I enjoyed that one quite a lot. It's broken into like 6 chapters and 2 different books, and there's already talk that they do like book 3 and book 4. So hopefully they do.
Yeah, especially like I mentioned last, how it ends. It's like, oh,
yeah, definitely.
Where's book? Where's book 3 and stuff.
It's when book 1 ended. You get the credits come up, and I was like, "Wait, what? That can't be it. I can't leave it like that." And I realized that I was only halfway through, so I was very confused for a second when those credits came up. I was like, oh, "Wait, I don't feel like that's the end at all." So yeah, hopefully they do continue to expand on it, and obviously this is a game that Xbox or Microsoft has published through their like global publishing division. So hopefully they carry on working with them, because definitely a lot of promise for the studio's like first game. So I finished that, and then the only other thing I've played, which I started this morning and played for like an hour or so, is Road 96, also on Game Pass. Quite a strange, like, cool game, which like seems a bit like a roguelike. You've got to try and get like teenagers across the border in this kind of like fictional, like kind of weird fascist school. I don't know if it's like fascist sort of country. Seems quite cool. A lot of like interactions with characters, and I've had one run basically, I think, so far, and you meet characters. Now I've started my second one, and I've met one of the characters I've already met from the previous run. I'm guessing you keep learning stuff and learning new skills. So yeah, it seems quite a cool game actually. It's quite unique in the way it's set out. I don't know if this is one you've played as well, Chris.
Yeah, I played it. I played it on Switch. It ran pretty not good because it was a Switch exclusive for a while as well. Yeah, it was a neat concept, and it plays a bit like a Telltale sort of game. It just like the 4th and 5th run, because you doing like the same thing did get a little bit boring, and then I think it's like the 7th or 8th it goes like more into the story where like the anniversary of like the event's gonna happen again. So because obviously every run is a different like week on the calendar, so like there's a few runs in the middle where it feels a bit boring, but like when you get to the end and it gets to that point, it gets pretty good. So
yeah, it's weird 'cause I think it's kind of like, I don't know if procedurally generated is the right term, but kind of like randomly generated as well, which is it's quite cool. And I think like the different things you can choose to do, you'll get different things in different order depending on how you play. So it's quite an interesting game. I'm looking forward to putting more time into that one. And that's it from me, I think.
A very indie week for you, Craig.
Yeah, a lot of Game Pass indies.
Yeah, a lot of well, this is what Game Pass does, and obviously I'm sure you'll mention Game Pass again before the end of the episode, Craig.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh hell yeah! But nice. So we'll move on. We'll move on to Pengy next. Pengy, what have you played and what have you bought, my boy?
Yeah. So since we did the last episode, I picked up 2 games. One of them is Digimon Survive, which I might talk about again later. So picked that up, not played that yet. And the other one was Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which I just looked before starting this to see how long I'm into it. I'm 22 hours into it, and I'm just at the start of chapter 4 of that. It has been very good so far. The characters, because I've played a bit of 1 and 2. From what I can actually remember of 2 and looking on like the Genome forum, and then I got to chapter 3, but if you'd asked me anything about any of the characters, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything apart from the cat girl's got a Welsh accent, and the cat girl in this one's also got a Welsh accent. That's literally all I could have told you about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I played Torna Country as well this year, which I was really liked when we talked about that. It's got the same sort of combat system of that, but you got the 6 characters to pick from, like at all times. You get like a 7th hero character. So I've done the 2 sort of like side quests where you can get some hero characters, and they're handy to meet as well because you get their like classes, which works a bit like a job system as well. So you do their mission, you can use them, and you get their things. So I have like a guardian defender, and then I'm like, oh, I can give this character that role, and they can level up in that role. So really liking the combat system. It looks really good as well. There's a few, like when you're walking around the open world, you can see like an enemy in like the far distance, and it's like looks like it's running at 2 frames a second. But it's obviously a huge open world game on the Switch, and when looking at the main characters in that, they look good. They're all fully voice acted. They're all English accents again. Like I said, the cat girl Mio, she's got a Welsh accent again because that's what these games do. Of that, yeah, and the story seems to be picking up as well. When you do get some cutscenes in the chapters, the game I think has got 7 chapters, and I only started at 4, so there's still quite a lot to go to see where that goes with the story. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be continuing on with Xenoblade pretty much. Is the only thing I'll be playing, and the only other thing I played apart from when I started that was finished Horizon Forbidden West, the like campaign, like main story of that before I sent it back to Boomerang. Yeah, that ended up being really good. Like the main story and the that I would pretty much, if you could bet on it, obviously the Game Awards, like we got like the best voice actor role. I would think Ashley Birch, apart from maybe Christopher Judge, for Kratos, is mostly nailed on for like that role because I can't really think of much who else really for voice work as well. But I would think her, or like I said, maybe Christopher Judge for Kratos, is like best voice acting sort of thing. So yeah, she's really good in it, and she plays multiple characters as well, and they are sort of different. So for that, main story is good. I played bits and pieces of like some of the side missions, and some of them were tied to trophies, but I just didn't do them because it was renting the game, so I wanted to send that back and started Xenoblade sort of thing. But yeah, if it comes to PlayStation Plus or something like that, I definitely can continue and go back and get some of those trophies.
Do you reckon they'll do a expansion again for this one? Did it end
Yes.
on like a cliffhanger? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will do an expansion like Frozen Wilds.
Hell yeah! I mean, I'm still struggling with Forbidden West. I just can't seem to get into it. But I think if I remember rightly, I had the same problem with Zero Dawn, and then I just sat there and played it to completion one week. But it's a ridiculously good-looking game as well. That has to be said. It's probably the best-looking game I've played on PS5 so far, I would imagine. And obviously you're playing it on PS4, so it still looks pretty good on that.
It looks really good on the PS4 Pro. It's like I haven't seen that many games that look better than it. Like I said, you got things like Xenoblade, from a technical standpoint, like how's that game like running on the Switch and looks so good on the Switch, but from a pure graphical like sense, like Horizon, it does look really good.
Hell yes. Is that everything from you, Pengy?
Yep.
Nice, concise week for the big dog.
And I really think next week is going to be like, I'll play more Xenoblade. I'm now 40 hours into it.
Yeah, it's a long series. So all the games are pretty lengthy. So yes, I look forward to hearing about the full final review of Xenoblade from you, Pengy. As for me, what have I been? So first of all, I've been playing pretty much exclusively on PlayStation, just to annoy Craig, to be honest with you. I finished Tacoma.
Oh, on PlayStation, nice.
On PlayStation, was the game I played when it came out on Xbox, and it's been sat in my backlog, PlayStation Plus, for literally about 4 years.
It's just the space walking sim.
Yeah, it's the one from the guys that did Gone Home, but there's a bit more game to it than Gone Home, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's an interesting story that's told in an interesting way. As you know, I don't like these type of games particularly, but like I can play one every couple of months. And
you got the platinum, I presume.
And I got the platinum's pretty easy to get. It's just play the game and then a couple of miscellaneous trophies. Very easy. Again, I think on Xbox I have 99% because I think one achievement glitched, and I haven't had the heart to re-download and replay the hour-long game. So, but yeah, really good experience. Really interesting story. Still runs just as badly on PS5 as it ran on Xbox One. So I don't know if that's any better on Series X. But yeah, it's an engine thing. I think I had one crash. But yeah, Tacoma, that's another one. I think that's platinum number 34, I think. So we did that. Platinum number 35 though, Craigo, was a game that came out this year, and obviously we'll talk at the end of my little section why I was able to play it. Is Chris's PlayStation Game of the Year, and that is My Name is Mayo 3, which I did play all the way through. It was £2 well spent, Craigo. I gotta say, for as far as achievement and trophy easy series, My Name is Mayo is easily my favourite because it's so self-aware of what it is, and it just pokes fun at everything, and it's a legitimately enjoyable 2-hour experience. It really is. It's more involved than just pressing A. Especially the second and third games, there's stuff to do. The stories are quite dark actually, Chris. I think the story to My Name is Mayo 3, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's £2. They know what they're doing. It was a fun experience. It's one of those things. Again, I don't play games like that very often, but yeah, the My Name is Mayo games are legitimately well made trophy fodder, but they're not. There's a lot worse you can play on PSN, especially. I think PSN's actually worse than the Xbox Store for fodder. But there's that. I also finished the main game of F1 2021. That's on EA Play. It was a 75p EA Play trial, and there's some other games that trophies I wanted to mop up, so it was on there. I decided to play F1 21, and it was really good. They have a story mode like all the EA games. It was pretty fun to play through. I played through quite a bit of online multiplayer to get some trophies. I played through quite a bit of their career mode, the build a team mode to get some trophies, and yeah, it was a fun experience. The driving mechanics are really good. It feels really good. It's Codemaster, so it feels nice and quick, and yeah.
It's Legends on EA Play yet?
No, it's just a trial currently.
Okay, because I played the trial of that, and even though it's a 10-hour trial, you could only do the first 2 chapters of the story. And that took 2 hours. So the other 8 was for multiplayer or whatever, and that was pretty decent in the story. So I didn't know if that came to EA Play yet or not.
I feel like it must too soon. And now that I know there's a story mode in that as well, and the grid story modes going back to Toka Driver were pretty good. So I look forward to that. But yeah, for F1 21, it's a Series X, Series S, PS5 enhanced game. I would recommend it if you fancy a racing game, and you don't, you know what I mean, and you haven't already completed the crap out of Forza. There isn't a lot out nowadays that isn't kind of wank. So, also, I had an issue on WRC 9 on my Xbox. So at the same time, Craig was having his achievement issue actually with game saves, and it just didn't like the game. So I stopped playing that and decided to move over to Formula 1, as they say. And the only other game I've been playing is I've been jumping back into Sackboy, A Big Adventure, a game that I got with my original PS5. And I played for a little bit, and I got 2 trophies. But I decided to jump back in now. I think I'm about 6 or 7 trophies in now. Really fun platform. It is just Mario 3D World. but with Sackboy. It's not going to be a completion because there's a lot of multiplayer trophies, but it's a really enjoyable game. I'm looking forward to playing that to the end, and just enjoy myself. It's a fun game. Like, it's a game that's not particularly stressful, and I'm not really in the mood for anything too stressful. And I think that's probably why Horizon Forbidden West isn't hitting with me currently, but we know I'll jump back into it.
Yeah, well, last week I obviously talked about Horizon. I just started it, and I feel I was a little down on it because obviously it does the open world thing, and then I played a bunch of indies and and then I went back to it, and further it went on, like the story got better and that of it. And again, it's I think it took me 28 hours and that's just the main story as well. So it's quite chunky out the side content. So it takes a while to get going, but when it does, it's good. But if you don't want to. I can get where you're coming from. So, I've played 1-2 hours. It hasn't got going as of yet. Sort of thing.
Have they changed like the combat at all in that game in the second one?
Pretty much the same. Like, if the game feels the same to play, to be honest with you, like, it just feels like more of Horizon Zero Dawn with like some small enhancements. I know later on there's more mechanics. Obviously, I haven't got yet, but currently it just feels like it's a direct follow-on.
Yeah, because I found that's probably my one slight on that game was the combat. I found myself using it as like the actual just gun weapon most of the time, just because it felt the most kind of like fluid and normal.
It's weird. On PS5, like the controller stuff is very good for it, and I think that helps with the combat. I just think I think it's too similar at the moment. Like, it's not, the big change hasn't happened yet, which I know there is other mechanics you do get later on, but like at the moment I just feel like it's the same. All the quests are stalk into here, do this almost exact thing I did in the first game. You know what I mean? Get this almost exact outcome, but in a slightly different location. And it's like, okay, like I think I need a proper 5 to 10 hour stint of playing it, which I just haven't had. It's been one of those games. It's because obviously it came with the PlayStation 1. It's just installed on there, and it's just other games that I've been more interested in. And I don't. Again, we'll talk about later on what kind of games we're going to play later, but I'm not sure. If it's right now, it's one of those games I know full well it will get its time. Maybe even when the DLC comes out, and if not, it will definitely be on the backlog next year. If it doesn't get done this year, next year it will be on there. But yes, the only other bit of news, boys and girls, is that I have finally purchased a video game, ending my non-video game purchase streak. And that game is, ironically enough, Resident Evil Village, which is obviously I need to play a Resident Evil game as per my forfeit. So we will hopefully, fingers crossed, technically, that me and Craig will be streaming that on Wednesday this week, probably on my Twitch channel, because I found that works the best on PS5. But I will tweet about locations of that, and obviously the VODs will go onto YouTube. But I'm quite looking forward to playing Village. Actually, I did stream very briefly me playing the demo, the Maiden demo that they released on PS5, and that is terrifying. I think it's more scary than the game, if I'm honest with you, because you're so powerless.
Don't you start in like the castle, don't you?
You start in the castle. Yeah, you're in like a dungeon, no weapons, and the stuff falling out the ceiling at you, and it's terrifying. It's scary. But it looks really good on PS5. But yeah, I was terrified the whole.
It's a pretty game.
Really, the whole 20 minutes I played on my own in the dark, I was pretty scared, Craig. So this is going to be a fun trip for me and you for you to witness me crying down the phone to you as I'm attempting. And obviously you'll be watching on a slight delay, so you won't even be able to help me in terms of seeing things coming, because I'll already be dead. I'll already be scared. But yep.
I don't want to ruin it for you, Dave.
I know you wouldn't help. But yeah, Wednesday. Hopefully this week we'll stream some Resident Evil Village, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. And then the follow-on to that is obviously it opens up games I can buy and pre-order and all that good nasty stuff. I'm starting a new job soon. That was kind of the motivation to kind of knock the Resident Evil out of the way, so I could just let myself be free again, enjoy my nights after work. But we will talk about that later. Let's move on now, Pengy, to the news. Pengy, have you got a sting for us yet, Pengy?
I don't have a jingle.
You don't have a jingle, so there's no Pengy jingle.
10 days, Chris, to make a jingle. To
record a jingle for me.
I don't have a jingle.
Okay, by next week, Chris, there better be a jingle, otherwise something's going to happen. I don't know what, but
Craig's furious.
Something. Yeah.
Craig's furious. So, Pengy, the news. There's a lot of directs this week, a lot of content. So we'll start with the quick stuff. So AEW have announced a new directs. 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 So AEW have announced a new sort of by no choice of their own, announced that AEW Fight Forever will be coming soon. They showed us a brief trailer, and the more information will come to us on THQ's showcase. That is on the end of this week,
believe.
On the 12th, which I think is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's Friday, so I will definitely be watching that, as I'm a big THQ fan myself. Not a lot to say,
It'll
boys.
be interesting what else they show in the THQ one. Will they show more Destroy All Humans 2, or it's out soon, so is there any point? I don't know.
I think they have said they have some unannounced games, so we'll see. I mean, THQ are a very interesting publisher, and me and Craig like them a lot, so I'm very intrigued to see what they say.
Do we know a time for the when that'll be on?
You know what? I haven't looked it up, but we will. I'm planning to watch it, so if it's on a sensible time, I might even stream it, Craig. So I'll let you know.
I can tell you because I think I
put
it.
Chris always knows the times for these sorts of things.
Don't give me a little bit. I can tell you.
But going back to the AEW game, this is such a roller coaster of a game. I feel, because when this was first announced, I feel like the hope was high, and then it kind of went quiet, and it was like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Why have they gone quiet on this? And then I saw it's been published by THQ, and I'm like, oh, okay, the hope's back up again. And then you see some trailers or whatever, and you think, oh, it doesn't look that good, and then you see other stuff and it looks great again. So I'm very intrigued just to see how this turns out.
Yeah, it's I think no matter what, for me, and maybe even for all of us, it's probably a day one purchase.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be full price either if it's THQ.
I think it'll be a maximum if it's 50 or 60.
Yeah.
And it's I feel bad for them because obviously WWE have come back, and this most recent game is supposedly quite good. I've been meaning, it's one of those games that will probably get picked up fairly soon for comparison purposes, to be honest with you. Once I know the date of AEW, which we'll probably find out on Friday, like WWE 2K.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. British Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
That's a sensible ass time right there. I appreciate that.
So I might even live stream a reaction to that, and if I can set it up, maybe the boys will join me if they're not working. But yeah, very interested to see that game. Very, very interested, and I'm to be honest, I'm very interested for that whole showcase because they do have a ludicrous amount of IPs and a ludicrous amount of studios. So it's we could see some cool shit, to be honest with you. Like I said, Destroy Humans 2 looks cool. That's coming out the August 30th. The Biomutant port is coming out in September. Like there's some stuff that they're putting out that's well priced, not full priced, and usually of pretty high quality. I think they have a SpongeBob game in development as well. So there's a Time Splitters. Am I right in thinking Time Splitters is also them?
Possibly, or someone in the Embracer group. So that's the thing as well. This is obviously THQ, which are then part of the Embracer group. So I don't know if we get any like crossover or something.
THQ do tend to publish all their games. Apart from
I was just thinking like, we need to show, I don't know, something somewhere from Play On, and it's like, where's it going to be? Oh, it's going to be here. So.
Yeah, we'll find out. But again, there's no expectation for this really, apart from the AEW game probably adding to it. So I find that very interesting. The other non-direct game announcement is Square Enix is at it again, and they've announced Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is a remaster of the
a remake.
It looks a bit of both, really. It looks a mixture of both, but it's
it's a remaster of a remake.
That's a remaster of it. Okay, fine. It's a remaster of a remake of the PSP version, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So
it's a remaster of the PSP game,
and that is a tactical strategy game that came out on PS1.
Similar to Final Fantasy Tactics.
It's literally the prequel to Final Fantasy Tactics. It was the Matsuda team before, also Matsushita, whoever he was called, before he went over to join the Final Fantasy Tactics team. It's the guy that decided to make Ivalice. So if you like the Ivalice games, it's very similar to that. Have you played any versions of this game, Chris?
I've played a bit of this on PSP, but not a huge amount.
Do you own it on PSP, Chris?
I do own it on PSP.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I own
it. Double dip and buy it twice. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I'm buying it. I will be buying it on Switch. It's got because it is a remaster of that game. It's got some quality of life improvements, some stuff with the pixel characters, which I've seen some people not huge fan of because it like smooths them out and stuff like that. But it's now got full voice acting as well. That was like the main thing that they've added into this version of game. Really is a weird one as well because Square just dropped the random. Obviously, Nintendo's been doing it quite often, like just dropping random stuff. But just a trailer out of nowhere for this game, but it's been rumored and even leaked on PSN. It showed up on like PSN deals. It was like there it is, and it's like you um a while ago. So it's good to know that actually is coming now, and I believe it's November is when it comes out. So
yeah, it's come to everything apart from Xbox, strangely, and it's a bit of a strange one as well because it's a strategy RPG. They've got Direfield Chronicles coming out, which is somewhat similar. You've got Valkyria Elysium coming out. You've got Star Ocean coming out. Like they've got that's 4 JRPGs they've got coming out between now and Christmas.
They basically got a game a month. So they haven't got anything in August, but they had sort of in July. They had Live Alive, which Nintendo actually published. So it is a Square Enix game, but Nintendo published that. Nothing in August, but then in September you have Direfield Chronicles, and then in October you have the Nier Automata port for Switch, and you have Star Ocean, I believe. And then November you have Tactics Ogre and Harvestella for Switch, and then December you got Dragon Quest Treasures, but Nintendo are publishing Dragon Quest, so it is Square, but Nintendo are publishing that one. Yeah, so Square do have and I forgot Valkyria Elysium as well, which I believe is September. So yeah, they got 2 in September, none in August, 2 in September, 2 in October, 2 in November, and 1 in December. I think Square for the rest of the year.
Yes, they clearly want to get all these games out before the financial year ends in April, sorry. So yeah, there's lots of rumors about purchases, and they've obviously sold parts of the business as well. So yeah, very curious times.
And then if you're going into next year, obviously January is Forspoken, like Crisis Core is winter, so it could easily be February. So they, pretty much got a game a month until, like you said, until the end of the fiscal year in March.
So
and then March could be Final Fantasy because that's summer, isn't it? So
yeah, Final Fantasy, it's not coming in March.
Not going to be 60.
So I wouldn't get your hopes up there just yet. That'd be next. That'd be the earliest. That'd be next summer. You'll get one.
It's coming out 2 years ago, Dave.
That's coming in. That's going to be like that. What we'll start all the games next year. That'll be July or something.
It'll be the start of Chris purchasing a PS5. That's what that will be.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Are you excited for this one then, Dave? So when do you think you'll pick up?
So Tactics Ogre is a really good game. I finished the PSP port when it came out when I was at university. So it's frustrating. If it was, I don't know how much it is, so Chris might be able to tell me. If it was 30 or 35, it would be more tempting because
I've seen physical pre-orders for like 32. So
yeah, so that's more tempting because it's a very good game. But, and this is the big but, I'd rather play Direfield Chronicles, which is a new game that's coming out soon, to fill me full of the strategy RPG goodness that I want. And then, of course, like Chris said, they've got so many games coming out that if I want an action RPG, I've got 3 or 4 choices as well. If I want a turn-based one, I've got a couple of choices. So it's an interesting game. It doesn't really need to come out now, which is a bit strange to me. But yeah, it's a good game. If it was on Xbox, I would massively recommend it to you. I think you might like it on Switch because obviously you've just played Project Triangle Strategy, which is a similar sort of game.
Yeah, similar concept.
But obviously,
it's a bit more. Do we know anything about length? How long it is?
It's about 40 to 50. I'd say is what.
Yeah, I would think so. I gotta look on how long to
beat. I think if you pengy it might be a 20 to 30 hour game, but it definitely.
No one wants to do that.
I got really into it when I played it. There's really good character development in that game, so I think it took me about 40, 50 if I remember right. And I played that in handheld the whole way through, so it does work well for that.
Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, which is the remake on PSP, is 50 hours.
There we go. So
it's a long boy. I watched the I watched the trailer just before we started because I thought I probably should have some insight. I thought it looked a lot like Triangle Strategy, maybe not quite as pretty as Triangle Strategy. I thought just from the trailer. But I really enjoyed Triangle Strategy. It's probably my game of the year at the moment. So I might end up picking this up, in fairness. especially if it's like 30 odd quid for a Switch game. Like, not many of them about.
No.
Unless they're published by THQ.
And the only other thing really with this obviously being official now, quite a while ago now, we obviously had the NVIDIA leaks for G4 Now, and Kingdom Hearts 4 has been real. This is obviously real, and like Crisis Core Reunion is real. So the only two things in Square that haven't been like officially announced or leaked anywhere is a Final Fantasy 9 remaster, which I presume is going to be the same as 8's remaster. I can't see it being like a Final Fantasy 7 type deal, and a War of the Lions remaster, which again might make sense with this being from PSP as well. Like whoever's doing this does War of the Lions sort of remake as well from the PSP, so that'd be cool because I like Final Fantasy 9 is amazing. So if those two games are also real, which would seem likely, seeing we had a Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, then yeah.
Lots of games for Pengy.
Yeah, and even from that list, was like Spider-Man was on that list, and now it is on PC. So.
Love it. Love it. Right. Well, we'll move on to some of the directs. I think we'll gloss over Annapurna pretty quick. We'll literally we won't list all the games because if you want to watch Annapurna, go nuts. But has either of you got like a highlight?
It was a bit disappointing because they had their last one, which is obviously in the not E3 last year, was actually really good, and they went around the map and we saw some really good things from there. But we saw things like Stray and Neon White, which have now come out, and I don't think anything that they really shown was like up to that level. There was like a lot of announcements of stuff getting to other consoles, like the Pathless is now coming to Xbox and Switch and all that stuff, and like six of I don't know how many games they showed in total. I think they showed like 12, and 6 are coming to Game Pass and stuff, and they ended like on like a dinosaur game, but nothing is like, oh, I really need to play that from them. And there's like you mentioned Tacoma, nothing on open roads, but then obviously the stuff behind the scenes at Fulbright, so kind of might make sense why we didn't see that. So I was a little bit disappointed in it due to how the quality of games Annapurna has put out so far this year, like Stray and Neon White, and how good the show was last year of what was shown. There's definitely stuff I will play because I really like Annapurna games, but nothing is like grabbing me like, oh yeah, I'm like Fantasy League next year. It's like nothing like it's gonna put like I put Neon White on there this year and Stray and stuff. I can't. It's nothing like that from the showcase.
I'm gonna disagree with Pengles again. I thought this was really good, but I think it's maybe because I have an ulterior motive in the fact that so much was announced for Game Pass. I think it was 5 games were announced in total for Game Pass. Which is awesome. Obviously, Annapurna just seem to love the subscription services, don't they? They seem to put all their games on subscription services if they can. I thought one of the highlights to me was that the Bounty Star game, which is like the Wild West game, when suddenly it turned into like a mech combat sort of thing. I thought that looked really cool. It was weird that I think the game was Cocoon. It was announced at the Xbox Showcase, which is an Annapurna game on Xbox for Game Pass. That wasn't there, even though in theory that would be within the next 12 months. So you would have thought it would be there, unless maybe Xbox has like the merchandising rights for it, or something like that. But no, I thought it was good. I really like their production of these things, where they have their like world map and they go to where all the studios are, and it told the cool little story with the guy who's making the game on Twitch. And then there's a guy in his chat, and they're now making a game together and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty cool. There's one that was a bit weird. I think it was one in Ireland where they were like, we're making a game, but we're not going to show us making a game. We're going to show us painting on walls. That was a bit like,
but we had that sort of
weird stuff going on here.
Yeah, we had that with their last year's as well. They had the woman that left Fulbright and another guy, I don't know what studio he's from, where they remembered having like cream tea or something around the table, and they never showed a game. They're like, yeah, we're setting up a new studio and we're having tea and biscuits. I'm like, okay. Yeah,
I remember that now that you said that. Yeah, that was awkward and weird.
It kind of set felt like that because it found a game that that Ireland team in Ireland made was really good. It'd be interesting what they see next. But it's one of those weird ones. Like, does it need to be in here? I don't know.
I mean, I'd definitely be playing, like, I think it's Solar Ash was one of the ones that was coming to Game Pass. Marquette, I think, was one of the other ones, which I imagine would be an easy completion if nothing else. There's a lot of stuff announced for me to play on the old Game Pass, which is it's all I really want, to be honest with you boys.
I mean, yeah, definitely. For me, Thirsty Suitors looks fun. Looks really fun.
Mm.
And
yeah, that's Game Pass as well.
That's Game Pass and like you said, Bantam Star looks really good as well. And there's obviously it's a game from the Watton guys.
6 out of like 12 for Game Pass. So,
Thirsty Suitors looks like a weird ass game as well. That looks like it's like 5 different games, like,
it looks really
into one.
Looks really interesting. Looks like a really interesting concept.
Is that the one with the like the skating?
It's like well, skating, and it was like a turn-based RPG and like an adventure game, and yeah, it looks
like
fun.
Dating sims,
yeah, and it's like, for me, like, it looks like an interesting concept. Again, not the type of game I usually play, but again, if it's coming to Game Pass, maybe some of these games will come to PlayStation Plus, like Stray did. So, yeah, I think it's interesting. And Annapurna always make good games, right? So, well, here or there, they do. So moving on from Annapurna, there's the other direct we had this week, of course, was a Pokemon direct. Now, this is probably the first Pokemon direct that I have had so little interest in. I've not watched, I've not read an article, I just don't care. So, Chris, why should I care?
Right, so it's a Pokemon showcase. It's like 20 minutes, and at least the first 10 was, look, here's a new Pokemon for Pokemon Unite. I don't care. This is a new thing for Pokemon Cafe Remix. I don't care. I don't care about all your mobile Pokemon rubbish. Just show me Scarlet and Violet. And they did. And we had a trailer of that. We've seen a couple of new Pokemons. Like, one's called Fido, which is a little dog Pokemon that's a little pastry as well.
Can you eat him?
I would think so. I don't know.
I mean, that'd be canon. What is this? Bug Snacks? What's going on?
Yeah, that sounds like a croissant or something. That sounds good.
Yeah, but then, like, in the Pokemon like anime, you see them eating like a fried Magikarp, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to eat a pastry dog. So yeah, that was one of the new ones that we've seen.
That's combining 2 very good things, in fairness, dogs and pastries. That's 2, top tier things to combine right there.
Yeah, and there's a new Wooper, which is a poison type as well, which is like covered in mud. So you saw a couple of new Pokemon. Few new mechanics, like you ride the legendaries around. So the futuristic one actually uses wheels as like a motorbike, and it goes into like the water and stuff. The prehistoric history one, even though it has wheels, uses its legs to run on the thing, which kind of makes, like, you've got wheels, why are you not using them? That's kind of weird. And they showed you having these legendaries, so don't know if you get them really early, and then if you can use them as to battle or not, because it'd be really weird, getting legendaries start, unless they're like level 1 sort of thing. But fully open world, they said you can do the gyms in any order. They don't scale though, so if you were to go to like the last gym, it would be really tough with, if you're going with your starter Pokemon, so you sort of still need to do the gyms in order.
I was about to say, what's the point if they don't scale in any way?
Because the game has 3 storylines. They announced the regular sort of like champion route. You do the gyms, you do Victory Road, you become the champion, and once you become the champion, you can take on better Pokemon trainers that have become champion as well. They're like pro, and you can like redo the gyms. So you have that story. Then they have 2 other ones which they didn't really talk about, but I would expect, because you're basically a student in this academy, and you've been sent out on some treasure hunts. So I'm expecting the treasure hunt thing to be part of the story. So I can kind of see it's like, Craig, you're focusing on the treasure hunt story, and you've now got to Lavender Town. Oh, I'm in this town, I can do that gym. You can do that gym right.
It's something a lot like the post game of Arceus, which like neither of us did, and from the reviews was very boring.
Yeah, and then obviously they didn't. Like I said, they didn't touch on the 2 other stories, but from the trailer, I was thinking treasure hunt and the regular gym one. So how I mostly will do it is go to the first town and do all the quests in that first town, all 3 stories. Then move on to the second town, do all 3 quests and stories, and keep going until I've got to the 8th gym and become the very best. And then it has, of course, a new gimmick as well. So Gigamaxing has gone and all that. Your Pokemon now turn into like crystal statues with funny hats, basically. And the easiest one to explain it with is if you buy the game within the first month, either physical or digital, it's a mystery guess. There's a Pikachu. You use this, you know, crystallizing thing. It's now a flying Pikachu because his hat is balloons. So he changes type, and then it shows you this with Eevee as well. So there's an Eevee with a water hat, so it becomes a water type. So I don't know if with Eevee there's going to be like you have that Eevee that can become a water type. If you evolve it to like a Jolteon or something, and it keeps the water hat, so that would be like an interesting thing. But yeah, it's like we've replaced Gigamax with this new type. It has raids, whereas these crystal, Pokemon which you're fighting in the raids as well. But you can do 4-player co-op and all that. Yeah, so it was
So
good.
Dave, you had no interest. Did all of that? Did that rekindle some deep down Pokemon love that's been sleeping inside of you, dormant for years?
So you know what? No, Craig. Actually, that's not.
Okay.
Yeah, Pokemon's weird because I'm Pokemon the fuck out, right? So they've been putting Pokemon games out left, right, and center. And we've talked on this show at length about how I just can't get into Switch for more than a week at a time, and I haven't finished Arceus. I'm not even close actually. I finished Shining Pearl this year, and that was kind of so average. It was just like, okay, Pokemon's just not moving in a direction that I want it to go in anymore. I think with Nintendo especially, and this is probably another video discussion to have, I find it personally very difficult to consistently play these Nintendo games because they are pretty much the same experience. So Pokemon is the same experience now as it was 4 years ago, whatever. But which is great if you love those games and that's kind of what you live for. But I'm just so in and out with games, especially the last couple of years, that I struggle dramatically to just get excited for that type of game. It's coming out around about the same time as God of War. I'm gonna play God of War. That game seems it's been 4 years since the last God of War, 3 years since the last God of War. So it's you know what I mean? It's just not. I don't think it's going to grab me, like it would have done. Obviously, my living situation is different to all the previous Pokemon games, which I would have bought the second game with a partner. That obviously I'm not doing that this time. So unless say I got one along with Chris or my friend Luke that plays Pokemon, that kind of we're playing together thing is the best thing about Pokemon.
Well, yeah, this one does have the 4-player co-op. I don't know how exactly it because they show you doing your raids and stuff like that.
I mean,
but
Sword and Shield had that, and I don't know a single person outside of the forum that did it. You know what I mean? In the forum guys did it because they love Nintendo and they do everything Nintendo. That's great, but and they already have that group of players they play Monster Hunter with. Whereas we didn't do that. Me and you had that game at launch, Chris. We didn't do it. It's not a selling point. I don't think. To be honest,
one of the guys in work, they did it in. I think it was Let's Go. And even though they were doing the co-op, the one of them was in the other characters' world, so it couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, the Let's Go co-op wasn't great. They just made it easy.
So I don't know if with this one, he was saying, if he can go into my world and you can do the gyms in my world and he earns that badge and. I got slightly different Pokemon, or you come across a shiny you can actually capture and keep it, and you can actually do the adventure together. Then that could be fine. But then it's Nintendo, Sword and Shield. You could only do the raid stuff. If you can only do the raid stuff co-op or whatever, then that's not good. But I guess we need to see more. I'll get the game, but I still don't know which version I'm getting. If I'm going to get Scarlet or Violet, because I don't know what Pokemon are on which game. So I'm apart from the 2 legendaries, I'm which one am I getting? I still don't know. So yeah.
I think part of the problem, this is coming from obviously a complete Nintendo noob, is like no matter what, we know these games will sell like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So there's
everyone was
almost
like,
no
"Oh, and not."
reason for them to like do anything new, if that makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
they can. I mean, they've put out what like 3 of these in like 14 months or something like that, and they're all gonna sell like fucking mental,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no matter what they do.
Yeah,
It's
like,
that the success is kind of like part of the problem. That like you're just not gonna see the innovation that maybe like Dave wants, or probably even I would want to get excited about, and it's
Well,
a strange situation.
There's other games now, like Digimon Cyber Sleuth. I thought was a better game than a lot of the Pokemon games. Like there are some of the Persona and the Shin Megami Tensei games have better monster collecting stuff than them. There's even games like Temtem, which is coming to console soon, which is basically Pokemon but online multiplayer, Craig, that's coming to Xbox Series X, is coming to PS5. Like, if I showed you that game, I think you'd be more excited about it because you're not nostalgic for it, and that's Pokemon's big power, and that's why you keep getting it. All these new games seem to go, do you remember Wooper? Let's make him different but the same. You know what I mean? And that's been a trope they have lived off since Sun and Moon, and I just don't find it interesting. Like, just give me exciting, interesting, new looking Pokemon, but they just, they're on 1,000. They just can't. Like, it's tough. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I think Scarlet and Violet will probably be one of those games that I'd probably pick up at the end of next year when I've not played a Pokemon.
Then there'll be another 2 up then, Dave.
Well, of course there will be, but that's kind of the cycle.
Black and white remakes.
Black and white remakes, but that's kind of the cycle. I think for me personally, like Nintendo is on now, whereas like I'm not. Like I haven't played any of the Nintendo games that came out this year, and I was really excited for Battle League, and that came out and was a bit of a flop, and I didn't play that. Kirby looks the most interesting of their own games. Project Triangle Strategy, that studio always does good games, but there's a lot of similar games, so that's a bit understanding. And Xenoblade, like I'm never going to finish it, so it's like I struggle a lot with Nintendo in that regard. It doesn't help that the Switch is so underpowered, and they still haven't got a new Mario Kart, which is really what I want. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the game I play the most. Give me a new Mario Kart, but yeah, Pokemon not for me. We could talk about Pokemon for probably about an hour because it's such an easy topic, but that will be a topic for another day, Pengy.
Yeah, when I'm playing Pokemon.
When you're playing Pokemon. When I finish Arceus one day, we'll talk about it. But speaking of what we're going to play next, let's get to the topic of the show. Tots. So this week there isn't a strict topic. I think next week's topic will probably be the THQ show. But so for this one, we're going to talk about what we're playing next. Now, what I mean by this is, I know this caused Chris a tiny bit of confusion in the chat, and it's more what you're excited to play next as opposed to like what game is pre-ordered next, what game is on your backlog next, like what game you like is coming out, or if you've
downloaded on the coming soon Game Pass app.
Yeah, there's what's tickling your fancy. Like we've all just finished games.
Will be 2 Point Campus for Craig, but
I mean, Craig will tell us in a minute. So we'll start with me because if I'm talking, so it's easier. So me and Craig actually talked about this game the other day, and now that I finished it up again, I've just actually started installing it because I completely forgot to do it. So I'm going to play Destroy All Humans 1, the first remake. Because obviously it's confusing if you're on PlayStation because you can play 1 and 2, the original PS2 versions as well. But I'm going to play the PS4 version of Destroy All Humans. I'm quite excited for the second one, which I think is a bit of a motivator for me. And obviously, as we talked about earlier, THQ releases are very rarely more than £35, which Destroy All Humans 2 is. So if I enjoy and complete this first one, then the second one is a game I might pick up when I get paid at the end of the month. But yeah, it's one of those games. Craig's played it. I think Craig's completed it. Talks really highly of it. The streamers that I watch play it and talk really highly of it. So for me, Destroy All Humans is probably the next game I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah, there's one that was in when we did our like most anticipated games. I think it was my like Chaos like out of nowhere pick. Yeah, I think that would be very, very good. The trailers just look crazy, funny, silly.
Yeah, they've got that weird multiplayer standalone game they've already put out, which comes as a pre-order for this game as well, I believe. But it's not actually in the game, so it won't be as far as I'm aware, it will not affect your completion percentage or the trophies for me. So that's exciting.
For me, obviously I've got Far Cry to play, which I'm actually really excited to start after Road 96 because I haven't played one of these like open worldy games in a long time. I used to play them like all the time, like just one after the other. But it's been quite a while since I've dabbled in the old Ubisoft open world, so I'm definitely excited for that. And then the next one like coming out that I'm like really excited for, can't wait for, is probably A Plague Tale. Just because I love the first game, and obviously it is Game Pass in October. I think there's quite a lot coming out Game Pass in October, which might be the concern. Although I think it's the first one of a little group of games that will probably help it.
Yeah, the first game of that is one that interested me quite a bit. We've lost Pengy. But,
yeah, he's gone. He's heard people talking about GHQ and Game Pass. And
THQ and Western Games. But yeah, the Plague's Tale, the first one, is one that's... Well, there was probably a close second or third for me in games I want to play soon in preparation for Requiem. It's on, again, I have it on PS5, so it's one of those I'll probably play at some point. But yeah,
I'd say easy completion, or I'd imagine platinum as well.
Yeah, I mean that's always a motivation for me and you, Nick Craig. But yeah, I think in Far Cry, to touch on it, I played Far Cry 6. I played a little bit with my last PS5, and it's one of those I will go back to. It's definitely it's definitely a backlog game for me on this PS5. And I really enjoyed it. I thought the humor was really good. I thought the gameplay was pretty good in terms of like feels nice to shoot a gun. The weapon, the customization of the weapons are hilarious, and they're great as you would expect. The side characters are hilarious, and the setting is very Far Cry, which I know sounds really silly, but like I feel like that the Far Cry games stumbled away from what Far Cry 1 was trying to do with Far Cry like 3 and 4, which were much more like Asian mountainous regions, whereas this is much more like Hispanic and much more like kind of like tequila fun time, you know what I mean? And I think it does that really well. I think you'll love it. Giancarlo Esposito is incredible in that game. I think
the last one as well.
I think Danny Trejo's in there quite early on. He's quite funny as well. There's some really, it's a fun game. It's one of those games you're playing like, this is stupid, but I love it. Yeah. So, but yeah, some good picks there, Craig. I'm sad that you haven't picked a THQ game, but obviously maybe after this week, when we find out that AW is coming out in a week, and we all scrambled to pre-order. And obviously, Craig, the thing you're most looking forward to is watch me play Resident Evil. So
that's gonna be a fun time for everyone involved.
That's gonna be the million views. Pengy, what about you, buddy? Obviously, Xenoblade is the game you're currently playing, but what's next? What do you fancy?
Yeah, sure. I don't know what I missed because I lost the internet connection. I heard some Far Cry action happening.
That's why you ran away.
Yeah, I won't be playing Far Cry even if it's on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, or even on, say, the Far Cry. Yeah, really, it's more Xenoblade, but after that, so one of my recent pickups for this is Digimon Survive, which been a really odd sort of release as well, because obviously when it's first announced 5 years ago, it's the strategy RPG, and you see the combat, it's a strategy RPG, and it's turned out that it's not that. It's more of a visual novel with you occasionally do battles. I see there's because no outlets got reviews of the game, so it's like I said, it's a really weird one. Like Namco never sent out any review copies of the game, but obviously early impressions on like Steam, where you can put user reviews like, oh, it's a really good story, but I've only had one battle in the first 6 hours or something like that. It reminds me a bit from what I have seen, and now there's been reviews of it. I think it's on 80 on OpenCritic. A bit similar to actually 13 Sentinels, which was obviously heavily on the visual novel story element, but you did have the RTS combat in that game, but you had it like not that often, and it was like not that long either. It sounds really similar to that in terms of the strategy.
Just looking on how long to beat, it's saying 30 hours. That's a long visual novel.
That is a long visual novel, but then I played 13 Sentinels for over 32 hours.
My Xbox woke up, Craig. What's going on?
So yeah, if you compare it to 13 Sentinels and it has reviewed, like I said, pretty well now on outlets and on Steam. Not so well on Metacritic, where it's been review bombed because everyone's like, this isn't a strategy RPG. That's what you advertised it as. But that's how it was obviously announced 4 or 5 years ago. But they changed developer, so halfway through. So I don't know if it's just like we have all the cutscenes.
We might have lost Chris.
Chris has turned into a robot, That is
Yeah.
that is what we've.
I'm going to throw out an extra one as well. Just a wild card. This is one that I just thought about that I'd be quite excited to play. It's not even announced for Xbox yet, but just thinking about it, Deathloop. I just had a look. It was released September 14th last year. So does that mean that after a year it joins Game Pass on September 14th this year? If yes, then that would definitely be one that I'd be looking forward to getting stuck into.
You'd have to feel like if they can, they will. They haven't got a lot coming out between now and anything really, so I wouldn't be surprised.
It's going to be so weird because obviously they can't market it at all until this like contract runs out.
Yeah,
I'm really interested just to see if there's just a tweet on September 14th or September 15th, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, this game's now on Game Pass," because they couldn't do any build up to it, or if they will be like, Deathloop comes in like a month and then have a bit of build up.
It depends. They might go out and make like some sort of enhancements to it, so they might make a big song and dance of it, perhaps.
Yeah, some DLC or something. Yeah, I imagine they will do something for it. I can't imagine they'll just be like, cold. Here's
the game. We still got the PlayStation icons instead of But yeah, and Deathloop's a good shout. And I think obviously Ghostwire then the year after or later on down the year, that's going to be a good. Did that game come out? Because I'm a PlayStation.
Yeah, it came out.
Sorry, I lost the internet again. From like a few 20 episodes.
Yeah, you did sound like a robot. We've had to fill time, Chris. Don't worry. We're professionals, so we've managed.
I think that was January, February, so that'd be beginning of next year, I'd imagine. Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah.
It came out in March, so 12 months. So you're looking at April next year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
that game can already be found. Like you can find it on like Steam for like 20 quid. So it's one of the ones where most probably once they got my Steam Deck, I will eventually.
I love how much you're just hanging your hope on the Steam Deck as well. That's a whole other episode we need to do. Ideally, when you get one, that'd be a really good one to do. And I suppose the last question. This is a general question because we've talked about the AEW game earlier. Is there any interest from people for the WWE game? Because obviously WWE seems to be moving in a good direction at the moment. We don't talk about wrestling too much on this channel because of our previous engagements, but I don't know about you, but when I see WWE moving in the direction that I prefer, it does make me motivated to buy and play the games more because it's the combination of the two things I love, and I'm kind of starting to get the itch to go back to watching wrestling a bit more. So I'm actually going to watch SummerSlam this evening while I edit this. So, but yeah, any thoughts towards the WWE games?
Maybe actually, I know Greg Miller absolutely loves it. I think it's his like game of the
year.
Him
and Ray Noveas Jr. play it a lot. So
yeah, is there like on the old ones there used to be like a proper like story mode? Does it have that?
Yes, but you can use a creator character, I believe.
Which is quite fun. Because that's what I
believe Xavier Woods is doing that on Up, Up, Down, Down. He's playing as his created character.
And there's a huge GM mode in this. Huge, like you can do. There's lots of brands you can be, including like NXT UK.
What's the game actually called?
WWE 2K22. I'm close to, like, to be honest with you, it's probably like Destroy Humans 2 could jump ahead of it because it comes out on the day I get paid. But WWE, because I keep seeing it for around 30 on PS5. So.
Oh yeah, of course you're on Xbox One at the moment.
You have to, It's not a good game. It's one you have to get two separate versions if you want it. Mm-hmm. Like you want the Series X version, which would be more expensive.
I see. I was about to say the Xbox One version is like £21 at the moment.
Is that on
that's
Amazon?
That's not too bad. Yeah, that's on Amazon. Yeah. PlayStation 5, £30.
Yeah, I've seen that for about 26. So when it drops again and I get paid. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to watch SummerSlam tonight, so that might influence me a bit. I'm very interested to compare the two wrestling games if they do indeed come out this year. Because again, I've only heard good things about WWE, because we haven't really been playing or watching wrestling. Probably the least we've watched wrestling in the last 6 months. I think it's the least we've watched it in like probably the 3 or 4 years that we got back into it. It's probably my fault because I don't have a home for you guys to come watch wrestling at anymore. It probably is my fault actually, thinking about it. So I do apologise, boys. But we are getting close to WrestleMania season, and you know that we like to watch WrestleMania every year, boys. So just saying, if we can pay for Craig's...
It's £30 £30 in work on the Xbox Series X. So.
That's £27, Craig, as you know. So
Yeah.
could that be a payday purchase for the big dog?
I have to go hide a copy, maybe.
Yeah, you both get it. Do some content. It's easy enough to stream from the Xbox. You just won't get any entrance music, which is annoying. But remember when I made that whole wrestling thing? One of you should do that. It'd be fun. I don't suppose it's got.
Phenomenal.
I don't suppose it's got crossplay. Is it, Pengy? You're the man in the know here.
I have no idea.
Okay, well, do your research. Let us know.
I've done no because I'm not fussed whatsoever about
Really?
WWE 2K22. No. So.
It's fun, Dave, and you know what Pengy feels like about fun.
It does look fun. Like, if you want to watch fun.
If it's not a game for a list, you don't want to play it.
Is it on Switch? No. Is it on Steam? It is on Steam, but yeah.
The GM mode would be a reason for me to get it, to be honest. But yeah, Craig, watch Ray play it. His streams are hilarious. Because he just has Royal Rumbles with all the downloaded characters he's downloaded, and it's funny as hell. It's as funny as you think it will be. But
yeah, I can imagine. I've got the NCAA mascot football going in my head, but WWE, which is
it's similar.
What we really want, isn't it?
Yeah, it's similar. But anyway, enough about wrestling, boys. That's another episode in the bag. Next week, of course, is episode 50, so we will think of something fun to do and something fun to chat about. If we end up deciding that THQ is not a good enough chat for episode 50, then we'll save the THQ chat for something else. But yeah, like I said, there should be a stream on Wednesday. Watch out on the socials for that information. But yeah, thank you for watching the show. If you've got anything you want to talk to us about, if there's a game that you're interested in buying and playing, let us know in the comments. I want to hear it. Do you think I'm completely wrong about Pokemon? Do you think that Chris hates video games? Just put in the comments, let us know, and we will see you next week.
Bye.